Ahoy there! Captain Benzie here, coming at you with another video guide for EVE Echoes. This time around I wanted to talk to you about Covert Ops Cloaking Devices. This essentially came about because when I released the Stealth Bomber video, a couple of guys in the comments there pointed out that not all of the information I gave was completely accurate. Now, I do want to give as accurate as information as I can in all of my videos, so when I do make a mistake like this, I want to be completely open and honest, I want to deal with it, and I want to give a video just to quickly say, like, look, I messed up, please forgive me, here are the actual facts. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to look at cloaking devices, especially the Covert Ops variety. Now, before we jump in, if you are enjoying this content, let me know with a like on the video or subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. If you're enjoying EVE Echoes content, there is a whole ton of it that you can find on my channel. At the end of the video, there is a playlist, and you can look around my channel and find that as well. Plenty more of the EVE Echoes content to come. Let me know what you're enjoying, let me know what you want to see, either by commenting in the comment section down below, or find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or Discord. Details are on screen now, and will remain in the video description also. Right, anyway, all that said and done, let's get into Covert Ops Cloaking Devices. So here we are with me back in my Hound. I think it's important that before we get anywhere into this, we talk about what Covert Ops Cloaking Devices are. And this is kind of like to go over an old thing we learnt in primary school. All medicines are drugs, but not all drugs are medicines. It's the same with cloaking devices here. Covert Ops Cloaking Devices are cloaking devices, but not all cloaking devices are covert ops. Essentially, what I'm trying to get at here in a very roundabout way is that I assumed that small and medium on these cloaking devices was kind of like you have small turrets and medium turrets, or small missiles and medium missiles. I really couldn't have been more wrong. It turns out that cloaking devices is sort of your generic device that you plug into a ship and it cloaks. Covert Ops Cloaking Devices have a lot of benefits that standard cloaking devices don't. Now, the trickiness here comes in that Covert Ops Cloaking Devices only fit on certain ships. If I bring along something like a Bellicose or a Hurricane, any of my cruisers, battle cruisers, or even battleships, thinking that, you know, these are medium and large ships, and the Covert Ops Cloaking Devices medium module, surely it fits, right? No. You have to have this roll bonus of +1 Covert Ops Cloaking Device fittings in order to fit Covert Ops Cloaking Devices. Otherwise, you're stuck using normal cloaking devices. Now, it's not just the stealth bombers that have this. Certainly, if we have a look at the market, there are a couple of other ships that I can showcase quickly. If we look under frigates and scroll right the way down, eventually we come to the Covert Ops Frigates. As the name would imply, these things have the +1 Covert Ops Cloaking Device fittings. Destroyers as well, if we scroll down a little bit past the Interdictors and Interceptors and Guardians, there we are. Thrasher Covert Ops, again, Covert Ops in the name, Covert Ops Cloaking Device fitting, same obviously for the Coercer, the Cormorant and the Catalyst. What I don't get about these is, look, those are Tech 10 ships. Like seriously, those are Tech 10 ships. At Tech 8, I'm allowed to fly a battle cruiser like a Hurricane, but I'm not allowed to fly a Thrasher Covert Ops. I can fly a probe Covert Ops, and indeed, if I scroll down here on the cruiser list, I can actually fly a Bellicose Covert Ops. I can fly a Covert Ops cruiser. I can fly a Tier 2 Bellicose like Covert Ops cruiser at Tech 9, but no, a Thrasher Covert Ops, I have to be Tech. I'm getting distracted. I'm getting distracted, but that confused me when I discovered that the Destroyer Covert Ops are higher tech than even the crew. It confused me. Anyway, so what is the point in a Covert Ops cloaking device? Well, if you watched the Stealth Bomber video, you'll have seen me making some really rookie errors. I try to sit there and I'm cloaking, trying to cloak, and the game's telling me, no, you're within 2,000 meters of an asteroid. No, sorry, that doesn't work. I try and warp, I try and do all kinds of things whilst cloaked, and it just doesn't let me. Of course it doesn't, because you need Covert Ops cloaking devices if you want to warp whilst cloaked. And ultimately, that's what I'm going to showcase in action now. I'm going to undock. I'm just going to showcase that actually, yes, a cloaking device is very useful if you just want to drift around and get up close and personal or be sneaky. But here I am. I'm within range of the space station. As you see there at the top, Pimabeka 10, Color Kyoto, Corporation Factory, 0 kilometers. If I try and cloak, the game's going to tell me no, I'm within 2,000 meters of a nearby station. But what happens if I warp out to an asteroid field and then approach an asteroid? Is that going to be the same situation there? Well, let's find out. Let's warp through to an asteroid field first of all and see what happens then. So I'm going to need to obviously open up my overview. I'm going to need to put asteroids back on so that I can see how close I am properly to these. Let's warp through to Pimebeca, whichever one of those you want to call it. 10 asteroid cluster. Let's have a look where we land, where our closest one is. There we are, it's going to be this one. So we are going to approach. We're going to afterburner that approach in, and we're going to get to within 2 kilometers to see what happens here. Can I stealth? What's going to happen? Place your bets in the comments section down below. Maybe a micro warp drive would have been a better idea here. Nah, we're getting in there at a nice speed. 834 meters per second squared. Per second squared? Where'd the per second squared come from? Meters per second. Okay, so 4,000, 3,000 meters, 2,000 meters. Let's get that all the way down to 1,000 meters. We're going to stop the ship. Can I cloak? No, you still can't because you're within 2,000 meters. So that is something that remains the same. Now, what if we come a little bit further away from this and we move to, say, 3 kilometers? Well, that's what we're going to do now. We're going to micro warp drive, we're going to afterburner. If you've watched my videos, please explain to me why I keep calling afterburners micro warp drives. But now, yes, I can cloak because I am far enough away. It's worth noting now that I'm cloaked, what happens if I then approach and I come within that 2,000 meters again? Let's find out. So I'm within 2,000 meters, 1,000 meters. You see, I come uncloaked. Even though I'm still got the cloaking devices still running there on the right-hand side of the screen, I come uncloaked. Now, what do I even mean by cloaked? Because if you look in the bottom left, you'll see that there is just me in this system. Just me there. Even if I successfully cloak, it's not going to suddenly take me away and, take me off that. There's now 2 of us in the system, myself and this Marcus Starcaster. Cool. What the point I would make, though, is at the moment, I am within 2,000 meters of the asteroid. I can't do anything, so I need to move away from that. But in the overview, even when I cloak, being within the overview there, I'm not going to disappear. But if this Marcus dude came out to this asteroid belt, now that I'm cloaked, or once I'm cloaked, once the thing recharges, and I can pop it on, so we wait a second, there it goes, and there I go. All stealthy. If he were to come out to this belt now and open up his overview and look at all the nearby, all he's going to see is asteroids. Even if he turns off asteroids in his overview, that's what his thing is going to look like. He can be 3 kilometers from me and he will not know that I'm here. So what I can then do is you move up nice and close to someone, again like with the asteroids here. I'm going to approach here. We're going to put that micro warp drive on, just to prove that we can't, and we approach there nice and sneaky while cloaked. You'll also find that if I were to go to try and lock on, I can't do that either while cloaked. There are very few things that ultimately you can do while cloaked. You kind of get locked into a dangerous position where there's not much you can do. You just carefully drift around and sort of keep out of sight. As long as I stay 2,000 meters from everything, I will stay cloaked. I will not appear in the overview. I still appear in the system menu, but I don't appear in the overview. You get nice and close within range, and the idea then is that you would drop your cloak and immediately lock onto a target, which you can then hit with your warp disruptors, lock it into place, and blast it with your missiles, possibly popping on bombing mode as well for that extra flight time and missile damage. Now, obviously, this is an asteroid. I'm not actually going to be able to blow up an asteroid, but the idea is that you would sneak right up to someone, do all of this that you need to do, and then once you're quite happy that they're dead, turn off everything you need to, and straight away, I can pop the cloak back on. Now, the important thing with this as well, the big difference between this and the standard devices, not only is just how quickly it comes on and off, but also the fact that if we sit here and I decide, actually, let's go across to this asteroid cluster, I'm warped. I'm cloaked, sorry. Even though I'm warping now, you can see the cloak remains on. That is a key point. That means when I come into the next belt, I am already cloaked. Whoever is in that belt doing their mining, in their retriever, in their Venture 3, whichever one they happen to be in, they have no idea that I've arrived. As I'm coming into this belt now, if there's anyone in this belt, I am not going to affect their overview. There is not going to suddenly be an extra on that nearby. And I'm just going to be sitting here, drifting closer and closer to my prey, ready to then unlock and launch my missiles at them. And that is what I was trying to get at in the stealth bomber video in a very roundabout way. Yeah, crikey. So I do hope that answers the question then of what these cloaking devices actually do, why you would want to use them, and what advantages you have for certain ships. Now you'll see here when it comes to, not encounters, you'll see here that when I go into fitting and I look at the Hound's stats, normally this particular Covert Ops Cloaking device, if I was on something like my Covert Ops probe, there's a 30-second delay between decloaking and being able to lock on. Here there is a 100% reduction to the decloak lock delay, which means as soon as I drop that cloak, I can immediately lock on to my target. I've also got then the reactivation delay is dramatically reduced as well, so whatever the duration is when I turn this off, 15 seconds, would have been 13 if it were on any other ship. And that's ultimately just what I wanted to get at here. I'm really looking forward to Eve Echoes coming out, back out of beta, going into live, out of its shutdown and coming back into beta or into live or whatever it's going to be, so that I can actually start using things like my stealth bombers and my frigates again in proper fleet settings. I'm looking forward to blowing up some miners. So if you find out where my base of operations is going to be in live in Eve Echoes, because we have already got that sorted. I know I said I would let you all know when the corporation comes, and I will do, but I do have a system already planned. I'm considering various different naming options for that corporation right now, and I will put up a, what's it called, a voting for different names, and I am open to suggestions. If any of you have some cool names that you think for the corporation that I would open, let me know. Let me know in the comment section down below, and I will take them all into consideration. We'll have a lot of fun. I cannot wait for Eve Echoes to launch so I can start blowing up miners in my stealth bombers now that I actually understand what on earth these Covert Ops Cloaking devices do. And who knows, maybe at that point in time, the Thrasher Covert Ops will be a little bit easier to run as well. Maybe they'll have relaxed that. Anyway, that's about everything I wanted to say on Covert Ops Cloaking Devices. Again, thank you all so much for your support throughout this beta period. It's been truly humbling having you guys message me every time I jump into a system. That's been awesome. I've loved having you guys come and chat with me on the channel. I can't wait for this game to come back out and hit live. I'm truly, truly excited about this, and I hope you all are too. Anyway, I'm going to keep making content as long as you guys keep watching it. Thank you ever so much for all of your support. Happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.